Hey guys, Joel Frank here, market analyst for YouTrading, and today we're taking a quick look at crude oil markets because they have very much been on the move this week. A lot of people were expecting that sort of last week and this week things would be quite tentative because obviously a lot of market participants in Europe, in North America, and other parts of the world are away. There was the Christmas holidays last weekend, and obviously New Year's celebrations coming up this weekend. So participants in those regions generally tend to take some time off, which means conditions in markets can be quite sort of range bound and boring. But then on the other side, things can be actually sometimes be a bit choppier because of thin liquidity. So to be fair, it can go either way. But for crude oil markets, it certainly hasn't been boring over the last couple of sessions. I've got US WTI here on 4-hour candlesticks, and you can see that yesterday on Monday we had this big push higher. So crude oil over the last couple of weeks has been recovering really, really well from that dip at the beginning of last week. We broke above the previous December highs, which was in sort of the 73 area. We sort of broke above it gently just before, the end of last week. But then on Monday, we really found a good platform to push through this key area of resistance, but also this area, which is around 74.50, 74.60. That's an important, it was an important area of support from October and mid-November. And we've just burst through that. So if oil, which seems to have now run into resistance at its 50-day moving average, which is this blue line here, if it does come down a little bit, you might get some dip buying at this level if people are still feeling bullish and wanting to target a move towards these highs here, which would be your next area of resistance. In terms of the fundamentals, what's been going on then over the last couple of weeks? Well, just to recap all of this recent price action, this big drop here was when Omicron first sort of came about and started spreading around the world. Everyone was thinking, oh my God, like how much is this going to disrupt oil demand? Then that initial reaction was sort of deemed a bit of an overreaction. So we had this correction to the sort of 70 to low 70 per barrel area for WTI. We were kind of range bound in that for a couple of weeks. Then at the beginning of last week, we had not the weekend just gone, the weekend just before, you really started to see infection rates in Europe surge. But so that kind of triggered this initial drop down to last week's low, which was just above 66. But then you have this rapid recovery because just as Omicron has really started to spread in Europe, and it is still spreading very quickly. There's been loads of studies coming out from different parts of the world, South Africa, the UK, other parts of the world, suggesting that Omicron is much milder than previous variants. So a lot of this Omicron pessimism that it might cause lockdowns, all that kind of stuff, that it might disrupt economic activity, that it might lead to prolonged travel restrictions, thus hurting crude oil demand. A lot of that has been priced out. And you can see that this drop here on the 26th, that was the initial Omicron drop. So we're not quite back to that level around 78 just yet, but most of the Omicron pessimism has now been priced out. And I think going into 2022, which is not very far away, it's only just here, this is a theme that could continue. Now, there's obviously with oil, there's all these oil market specific things like the balance between supply and demand. A lot of focus is going to be on the supply side. We do have the OPEC meeting coming up on the 4th of January, where they will probably continue to gradually increase output. So increased supply is a problem. You're going to also have increased supply from the US in 2022 as well. But for now, as Omicron pessimism gets priced out, I think it is likely that we could see a test of these pre-Omicron highs from mid-November around 78. And Yeah, I mean, pushing above that, pushing back towards the annual highs might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, it just depends how bullish things are in like equity markets and stuff as well, because things have been very, very risk on this week. Um, like I can show you real quickly, might as well, maybe US 500.